everyone, and welcome to another edition of Get to Know Gives Back. I'm your host, Quinn Pettifer, Manager of Brand Initiatives for the Gazette, and really excited to kick off this year getting to know our nonprofit community through our Gazette Gives Back program, which is sponsored by Collins Community Credit Union. Big thanks to them, longtime supporters of Gazette Gives Back, and of course, this podcast. And Chris, congratulations. You are the first official Get to Know Gives Back podcast of 2025. I'm Chris Ackman with HACAP. How you doing, Chris?
Good. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. So you're an old pro at this, but for those that are not familiar with HACAP, why don't you start us off with a little bit of information about the mission of the organization and the services that you provide?
Yeah, well, first off, our mission is really designed around helping to build stronger communities. And we are a community action agency. So what that means is that we serve the East Central Iowa area. So we serve 9 counties in Eastern Iowa. And then for other portions of the state, there are other community action agencies that serve other areas, like the Des Moines area, Sioux City, all around the state and all around the country. So community action agencies are not just a local thing here in Eastern Iowa. They are a nationwide thing as well. And a lot of the programs that we provide, like energy assistance, Head Start, weatherization, those types of services are also provided by community action agencies around the country.
Mm-hmm. Probably best well known here, HACAP, I think often people affiliate or associate HACAP with food and providing food. But certainly you just mentioned a lot of the other sources that are connected to that. When it comes to food distribution specifically, I know, I think people are also always surprised at how large a geographic space you cover. 9 counties that's a lot. And a lot of that has to do with your partnerships. Can you talk a little bit about the partnerships that you have throughout those 9 counties?
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously, if it weren't for our partnerships, we would not be able to do what we do. We just wouldn't be able to do it. Even including partnerships like Gazette, with the Gazette Gives Back and the free advertising that we get. I mean, we couldn't get our message out as much as what we could, because obviously nonprofits are not, just flowing with cash all the time. We need those partnerships. And luckily in the Cedar Rapids area and in the Eastern Iowa area, we are fortunate to be in a community where we have tremendous partnerships. So one of the biggest partnerships, I think, is through our mobile food pantry, which is our food bank on wheels, so to speak, which goes out into the community pretty much every other day of the month. There's a schedule on our website for people to find. And it's targeted to hit more of the rural areas in Iowa, since we have a lot of food pantries here in the Cedar Rapids area, which we also have a listing of those on our website as well. But we're in a very unique geographical area in that we have Cedar Rapids, Iowa City, some of the bigger cities that have a lot of access to food pantries. But then when you get out into some of the rural counties that we serve, like Benton County, Iowa County, Jackson County, those kind of things, there's a little bit more food deserts, like we call them, because there's not a lot of ways to get to a food pantry easily. So the main purpose of the mobile food pantry is to take food to those communities where people are at, to those food deserts. And that is a partnership that we have with Alliant Energy. They came in one day and they said, "Hey, what do you need to better serve the community?" And we said, "Well, we need a truck for the mobile food pantry." So they paid for that. In addition to that, we also have a lot of great partnerships with volunteers. A lot of our volunteers are made up by corporations in the area. I could list off pretty much every major business in the area has pretty much provided volunteers at some point in time. That's a really big deal because we obviously need volunteers to get food out quickly so that it gets into the community quickly. And that way, when we get food donations in, the food gets out quickly and it doesn't go bad. So our volunteers are very key in helping to quality control check the food. They help sort food donations. They help to put together food boxes. And the reason why they sort those donations is into categories is key, because you don't want somebody to get like 4 boxes of green beans,
Right.
because who wants 4 boxes of just green beans? So we try to have our food boxes have a good variety of different food items that people can use to make a meal, and that's the hope of it. And then our volunteers also help to work with the mobile food pantry. We just opened a food pantry in the former Olivet neighborhood mission. So we have volunteers working there throughout the week. And like I said, a lot of that is really just because of partnerships in the community.
Absolutely. You mentioned when it comes to food deserts, sometimes it's partners like Alliant coming to you to say, hey, how can we help meet this need that's here geographically? Other times it might be in reaction to, you mentioned all of it being able to, be able to respond accordingly. When you are looking at those food deserts, is it more you keeping your finger on the pulse of the need, or is it more reaction, like having community members feel comfortable to come to HACAP, or is it a balance of both? I'm thinking about like how to identify those food deserts.
Well, it is a balance of both. We're also a member of Feeding America. So a lot of people have probably heard about Feeding America through PSAs on social media or their TVs. A lot of times Feeding America does fundraisers through local stores, which all comes to us as well. And Feeding America is very strong in the data and research part of it. So we have identified those counties as food deserts through a lot of research, a lot of data behind that with Feeding America. So we sometimes have a color code system, if a county is, green or orange or red, and we look at the map, we look at how far away towns are from a major grocery chain or, say, a gas station that provides a lot of food. All of those things we take into account when looking at food deserts. Mm-hmm. So the main reason behind that, and that's something that we're constantly looking at, and that's how we determine those things, is just by kind of keeping a pulse in the community. We also have, through the food reservoir, we have partner coordinators. So they're working with a lot of these pantries in the area throughout the week, and that is their main job. And so we're just constantly out there and keeping a pulse on it so that we know if we need to make a change or if we need to add a mobile food pantry somewhere, we can. Or say if a major, gas station or grocery chain closes in a small town area, that's obviously going to affect that area very much. So those are all the things that we try to keep up with so that we make sure that the distribution is being spread where it needs to in Eastern Iowa.
Absolutely. Well, and the communication of identifying where those needs are and asking the community to step in and help is something HACAP has always really thrived in being able to do. And I know Gazette has been a part of those communication strategies when there is that need. When you're looking at your months ahead, I know there's the forecast is the forecast, right? So like you said, there's going to be some needs that are unexpected. There's going to be some needs that are already anticipated. But for those that are, I'll start with businesses and organizations that would be interested in partnering. What's the best way to start that conversation with you and others at HACAP?
The best way is to go to our website. You could go to our website and look at the Food Reservoir page. If you want to partner specifically with the Food Reservoir in any way, on the Food Reservoir page on our website, we have a list of our leadership team there. Feel free to email any one of us. If you want to volunteer, feel free to email myself or Craig, who is our volunteer coordinator for the Food Reservoir. Our emails are on the volunteer page on the website. We have a list of all of our current volunteer opportunities on there, which is a good way to get involved. Or if somebody else if an organization is thinking about something, they can submit a group request, or like I said, email us. Food drives are always a great thing too. We really welcome food drives, which is an easy thing for corporations to do, especially bigger businesses in Cedar Rapids who have a lot of people in the office. It's just as simple as putting a box out and saying,
Mhm.
hey, we're collecting food drives, sending out maybe the list of the non-perishable food items that we like to see, which is on our website as well. So that's a very easy thing that we like to see a lot of as well.
I think that's a great myth buster, by the way. I know a lot of people understand you've got like these larger partnerships with larger entities that might be able to provide you with a lot of food to help with the food reservoirs, but it doesn't have to be a huge initiative, right? I mean, you can be a small business, a medium-sized business, and collect food. I kind of go back, not that, Festival of Trees is a large event, but,
Mhm.
that was one of our partnerships with you, gathering food, the non-perishable food donations a couple years ago during Festival of Trees, which a lot of folks that brought food in were like, I didn't even know that this was an option. Is this something our business can do? And HACAP team was great to say, yes, it is. And here's where you go. So Chris, you mentioned the website. It's HACAP.org. Is that correct?
Yep, HACAP.org.
Okay, so that's HACAP.org. Fantastic. Great use of acronym, by the way. So Chris, so we talked a little bit about the organization. If there's an individual that would like to help or reach out, same thing, go to the website.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, individuals can do food drives as well. We have a lot of individuals who do food drives, and then we'll either drop food off at our warehouse in Hiawatha, or we have a lot of volunteer opportunities for individuals as well. Uh, while we have a lot of groups that come in, we do need a lot of individuals to help with, say, picking orders, which means putting together orders of food items for food pantries when they come and pick up food, because we distribute food to the food pantries in the area. There's a lot of things for individuals to do as well and take part in.
Absolutely. And like you said, it's not as simple as just like grabbing a few things of green beans, right? You got to make sure it's well balanced. You got to make sure that it serves a lot of different interests, a lot of varieties. And that holds true not just for individual food boxes, but also for the food pantries. So, and I must say, I've been to your facility a number of times. I'm just always amazed at what a well-oiled machine, because it's a lot. There's a lot going on at any given time, and you and your team do a fantastic job keeping it running strong. So thank you for that. Anything else that you'd like our viewers to know?
I mean, I think one of the biggest things is a lot of people when they donate, it like you said, it doesn't have to be a lot or a ton in order to make a difference, because every little bit makes a difference, which I know a lot of nonprofits say, which sounds kind of cliche, but the reason why we say it all the time is because it's really true. $1 equals 6 meals. So a $1 donation can provide 6 meals for a family in Eastern Iowa. And that's a big amount, when it adds up. So you think about, if that's the power and the impact that $1 can do, just think about what $10 can do, or $50 or $100 and so on. So that's a key thing for people to know. I mean, we've had people drop off food donations of anywhere from a grocery bag to, 4 or 5 pallets worth. And anywhere in between, we're going to use that food and it's going to go to good use. So even the small donations do end up making a difference. It doesn't have to be a big, planned out thing. It could just be anybody looking through their cupboards and finding food that's still good, still not expired, but still can be used, but they're not going to use it. A lot of people don't realize that when Scouting for Food does their annual food drive, we're the recipients of that. So anytime you can give, and giving to your local food pantry as well, and helping out and volunteering at your local food pantry as well, is really great. I mean, we are the food bank. So a food bank, and I didn't completely describe this, but the food bank, there's food banks that distribute to food pantries. So we're distributing food to a lot of food pantries in the area, which a lot of churches run food pantries. A lot of schools have food pantries now, which is a really great thing. So any way that you can, give back to those food pantries in your community, it doesn't have to necessarily be through HACAP. Any way you can do that is going to make a huge difference.
And even if you don't know that it's going to HACAP, I mean, you just mentioned the Scouting example, I mean, that's as simple as putting a grocery, a bag together, setting it outside your door in some cases, and they just pick it up for you. Absolutely. And the pantries and the evolution of pantries being present where people are already gathering is very telling of how organizations like HACAP are really trying to make sure that it's as easy as possible for the recipients as well as the donors. So that's excellent. Well, Chris, thank you so much for all you're doing. Please send our thank you to everybody at HACAP. We appreciate all the work that you do. And of course, we appreciate you being part of Gazette Gives Back 2025.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. And thank you to our viewers for another episode of Get to Know Gives Back, presented by Collins Community Credit Union. I'm Quinn Pettifer with the Gazette, and we'll see you next time.